Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Bob's Live, our weekly show right here on the internet. And well, this week, love is in the air. So, we've got a little bit of a Valentine's Day episode. Um, Being a greenhouse and growing flowers, obviously, Valentine's Day is an important holiday for us. But I thought I would do a little bit of a twist on it that we'll get to later. But up first, I thought we would head out to the greenhouse where it is cold and snowy, at least outside. It might be cold and snowy outside today, but it's nice and warm in the greenhouse. So let's check out what's growing. Alright, it's a lot warmer in here. And behind me, we have the first geranium baskets of the season. So these I've showed in the past, how the system operates. It acts kind of like a big conveyor belt to water the hanging baskets. So they travel all the way down to the end of the greenhouse down here, and then all the way down to the end down there where there's a watering head that waters them as they pass underneath. Speaking of watering, this is how our seedling plugs get watered. The watering boom is traveling along the ceiling there. It's pulling the hose and everything behind it and watering the seedling trays as it goes. Here we have marigold seedlings that are just starting to sprout. And just one day over, we have impatiens. And that's a quick look at what we have going on here in the greenhouse on this cold and snowy February day. And well, if you want to learn more about Bob's Market, head over to bobsmarket.com. So that was a quick look at what's happening out in the greenhouse. We're right on the verge of seeing the first geranium blooms. That's really what I walked out there to look for. Something that I do is I keep a backlog of all the photos that I've taken, and I know we're getting close on those. Up next, of course, it is cold and snowy out, so I thought I would take a look at the weather. Which, yeah, right now it is roughly 32. It's kind of a weird rain-snow mix. It's kind of gone back and forth all day today. Thank goodness I don't think we've got the amount of snow that they were predicting on the high end, but still it is pretty snowy out. And if we take a look at the warnings that are going on right now, we're still under the winter storm warning. And then there's winter weather advisories. And then we've just got snow and yuckiness kind of all around right now. So yeah, it is cold and dreary outside. And of course, you can always find the weather as far as it relates to gardening in our podcast, the Keep Growing Podcast. Of course, this time of year, there's not a lot to be doing outside. So each month, we're covering a different gardening topic. And I just uploaded February's this past weekend. So go ahead and check it out. You can find our podcast on any of the podcast platforms. So we upload it to Spotify, so that's kind of its native place where it gets uploaded to, but it's also on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts. We surprisingly get a lot of people that just listen to it on YouTube, which that just blows my mind because they're just staring at a thumbnail. I guess it is available through YouTube Music. And then it's also available on iHeartRadio. Stephanie says, I want spring, warm weather, and flowers. That's something that I always say is working here. It's 70 degrees and sunny every day, even on days like today. I was standing outside in the cold to shoot that beginning part of the video, and then I walked inside, and by the time I made it back in to my office here to start editing the video, I had a nice little sweat going. So Patty, hey Patty, she jumped from YouTube over to Facebook. I can see your comments in either location. Feel free to comment. I want this to be kind of a two-sided conversation on our live stream. Something that I thought I would talk about this week is, of course, Valentine's Day. I mentioned that back at the beginning of the episode, and this week's blog post, which I've got the draft of it right here, is Valentine's Day gifts for gardeners in your life. And what I wanted to do is go beyond flowers. Flowers are great, but there's gifts that you can give gardeners that will last a little bit longer. So I put together just a few quick ones that we'll cover here in Bob's Live, and then I'm going to go kind of down the rabbit hole on the blog post this week. Which the blog post, just timing wise, it comes out on Friday, which is Valentine's Day. So if you're you might want to just file it away. But these are great ideas for your gardeners. And of course, first things first, I have to plug our own gift cards. So we offer Bob's Market gift cards. Stephanie says I need a job there. LOL. Yes. Patty, I need new hand tools, so I've got that in the list. But a Bob's Market gift card is a great option, and you can either purchase them directly in our stores, which right now the Belpre store location is open during the winter time, but you can also order them through our website. So if you head over to bobsmarket.com, up in the upper corner, there's a link for the store. And that's the only thing that we sell on our website is gift cards. It has to do with taxes and all the weird stuff with selling stuff online. So gift cards, taxes get taken out at the time of purchase or when they're redeemed. So that's boring. You don't want to hear that. But gift cards make a great choice. Keep in mind, though, if you buy a gift card online, like this evening, that means I would get it in the mail probably tomorrow. And depending on delivery, we send them first class mail. Might be cutting it kind of close. So I would recommend coming into the store if you go the gift card route. Another great option is seeds. If you've got a gardener, we're already planning ahead for spring. I've got my journal here with my spring garden plan etched out in it. I drew out my beds and decided where I wanted to plant stuff. So yeah, you can buy seeds for your gardener. And at Bob's, at our Belpre store, we carry botanical interest seeds. Um, we've carried their seeds for a number of years in our stores. Their seed packs, first of all, they're beautiful seed packs. A fun thing is they actually have like local artists out there. I believe it's Colorado where they're based. But they produce the art, the drawings of the plants that are on the seed packs. So botanical interest is a great option. Um, yeah, Gene says, "What is growing behind you?" It's just our green screen. I have a green screen, but uh, it is, yeah, it's kind of hard to see there, but it's our seedling plugs that we grow. I'm not sure what exact plants those are though. Um, but yeah, I try to pick kind of a seasonal background for the live stream. So botanical interest seeds are a great option. I just held up my gardening journal. A gardening journal is another great option. I use I use a system called bullet journaling where I keep a daily journal of everything. So, like last week, these are actually the illustrations that were in last week's blog post. I drew them out and then took pictures of them. Um, but I do a daily planner. It has everything, stuff for work, stuff for home. I put in, I'll print off like pictures and add to it. So, pictures of like the snow and different things like that. Um, but yeah, along the garden journal line, we are getting some custom Bob's Market and Greenhouses garden journals printed up. So we're going to have those available in a few weeks. I'm not sure the exact timeline on getting them. So if you're interested in garden journaling, we're going to have garden journals. Yeah, Stephanie says I've bought a few seed packs. Beautiful flowers, many combinations to choose from. Yeah, so botanical interests, they have a bunch of different seed varieties. And I do a lot of seed purchasing for myself online. And one of the things that I did yesterday is I just ordered, let's see, altogether, I ordered some different packs I'm going to mix, but I ordered about 2 pounds of wildflower seed for my meadow. Up next, Patty mentioned this, and that is garden tools. Garden tools are always a great option for gardeners. I know myself, I forget tools out in the garden all the time, so they tend to get rusty and they wear out. I break handles and stuff constantly. Um, I've broke, I don't know how many shovel handles in my life. But gardening tools are always a great option. And you can kind of go down the gadget rabbit hole with garden tools. Um, you know, you can buy 50 different types of trowels, 50 different types of hose, and you always look at one and go, I could use that for this specific thing. So it's always a great option. Yeah, Patty says I always leave them outside. Yeah, I try to take them into my garage and store them so they don't get rusty. But yeah, I always forget like a hoe laying out in the garden or something like that. Of course, at the end of the season, I always bring them in, brush them off, use a wire brush on them to try to get the rust off. And then I apply a little bit of, I usually use whatever cheap cooking oil we have. So if we've got some canola oil or olive oil or something like that, I'll I'll use some food safe oil on them. So yeah, tools, another great option. And then finally, if you have to do flowers, I always like to go the houseplant route. So this time of year, stuff that you can find blooming, something like orchids are a great option as a living flower bouquet. Another great option is anthurium. I bought my wife an anthurium a few years ago because she is allergic to flowers, and anthurium doesn't really produce pollen, so it's kind of allergy safe. But the cool thing is that plant, I bought it for like 10 years ago. It's still alive. It started off in a little container like this tall, and now it's probably 2 or 3 feet tall. I've actually transplanted it a couple times, and it produces little baby offshoots. So I've transplanted those, so now we have multiple anthuriums around the house. So yeah. Oh, Patty says she always leaves her tools outside. Mine are outside getting snowed on. Yep, yep. I always have some tools that I just leave out. Oh yeah, add a mailbox on a post to your garden. Set the smaller hand tools and gloves and extra seeds inside. That is a genius idea. Um, I might just do that. That is a great idea. Um, because I've gone the route before of like I usually have a bucket that I set on sometimes out in the garden. So like my smaller tools, I'll just chuck in the bucket and then tip it upside down if we're gonna have rain. But yeah, that is a really great idea. Um, so yeah, that is my quick list of gift ideas, Valentine's gift ideas for gardeners. And yeah, well, that is all that I have for this week's episode. Once again, I just posted, let me find it here. I just posted a new episode of our podcast, the Keep Growing Podcast. As I said, this time of year, I only do a once monthly episode, but during the gardening season, we do a weekly episode where we cover gardening tasks that are local to this area. So I always cover the weather forecast as best I can because, late week, the gardening or the weather forecast always changes. But the gardening tasks, I don't have a copy of it here to grab, but for reference, I use the WVU gardening calendar, which it's specifically made for our region. And that way, everything is up to date as far as what you could be doing in the garden that week. And it kind of goes, our podcast kind of goes hand in hand with our almanac page, Uncle Jim's Almanac, where we have like gardening by the moon and all of that kind of stuff. And of course, you can find all of this over on our website at bobsmarket.com. And well, that is all that I have for this week. Yeah, Stephanie says it works great. Yeah, I really like that idea, and I have on my to-do list for this year to finally build a fence around my garden. So I think a mailbox is going to be added to the fence. I really love that idea. Well, that is all that I have for this week. So until next time, keep growing.